today we're going to talk about people changing people. Why do we look to change people, especially in relationships? Why do we think that in order for us to have a healthy relationship, you need to do things different? And I'm guilty as fudgesicles. So let's do this. So my first question for you guys is this, because every single one of us, including moi, is guilty of this. We're guilty of wanting to change another human being. Every single one of us. I don't give a shit who you are. It could be a child. It could be a spouse. It could be a business partner. It could be a family member. It could be, I don't care who it is, human to human. We have at one point in our journey looked to change someone. Maybe their behavior, the way they speak, the way they eat. Guilty of that one. I'll tell you about it in just 1 minute here, how I used to have a pet peeve about people cutting food with their fork. I hate it. Damn it. God made knives for a reason, because otherwise he would have made forks with a knife on one side. I think that's called I don't know what it's called. There was a term like one side is sharp so you can actually cut with the fork. I fucking hate it. That's me. You don't have to hate it, but here's, right? So this is where the stuff comes out. So for you guys, my question is, what's your pet peeve in other people that you have attempted to change in the past, or are you still doing today? Maybe you're still at it today, like, man, when my husband does this, and I tell him and I want it to change, and I tell him, you know, this would make me happier, this would change this in our home. Talk to me right now. Who is doing what? Who are you looking to change and why? And what's that thing? What's that behavior that you're going for? Understanding that we're energy. This whole universe is nothing but vibration, right? It's all one, just sound. One sound, one sound. It's called universe, one sound. That's all we got. So if it's all energy, and this whole energy is vibration in the form of sound, and we are a part of this whole mechanism, that simply means that we are also vibration. So everything, my meat, obviously it's all muscle. You guys get that, right? Romanian Thunder. So we're all vibration. So my body, my spirit, my mind, my conscious, my subconscious, my unconscious, my spirit body, my ether body, I can go on and on and on. It's all vibration. Sound, again, is vibration. Our words, our sound, they're vibration. And understanding the law of the universe, this universe operates in two forms of mechanism, if you will. Everything that we have is either electrical or magnetic. And please understand this, because this here is the foundation to everything in life. Like, yes, this conversation, but it's applicable to everything, because back it up, if everything is vibration, and we all agree that everything, this microphone, this computer, the lights around me, everything is vibrating at a higher or lower level, it's still vibration. And you cannot create energy. You can transfer it. It cannot be created or destroyed. It can just be transferred. So going back to electricity and magnetism, that simply means that everything is either a spark that was created by another energy because it's transferred, or it's being pushed or rejected rather, sorry. So it's magnetic or sparked. So understanding that we are electrical beings and magnetic beings, right? You're pulled to someone, oh my God, I'm in love. Or I can really relate to that person, man, their mindset, their energy, boom, magnetism. And then there's a spark, and it's like, boom, connection happens. So this is all we are. We are this vibration that manifests itself in a magnetic form or an electrical form, and sometimes both, right? Because sometimes it takes one to move the other, etc. So this is all we are. So now we say, okay, so I got that part. We are magnetic, electrical. So now I have thoughts that are based on what? So my thoughts that happen up here all day long, I have thoughts, you have thoughts, right? What are these thoughts based on, and where are they coming from? Are they coming from outside? Are they like, is somebody putting these thoughts into your head? Is somebody holding a gun to your head saying, you better think that you're a piece of shit right now? No, we take that on upon ourselves. Nobody beats us up more than we beat up ourselves, right? But where does this come from? So to back it up, energy inside of the human body information is stored in our chest. And you guys know we talk about this a lot, but I'm going through this again because I really want us all to understand that we have the power. We have the control. What we do is up to us. It's up to me what I have in my subconscious mind, in my database, in my spirit. It's up to me. Nobody has control over that. From inception to the age of 7, the human consciousness exists in a state called theta. Theta mode of the brain is simply an absorption. It's nothing but a magnet. It's pulling everything it hears, it sees. It's like sponge, gimme. So whatever happened to me and to you between inception, and I'm saying inception because when you were in embryo, you're in your mama belly, and you're sitting there in mama belly, and daddy comes home and says, we should have never had this baby. We can't afford it. We don't deserve a child. This child will be the doom of us. Guess what? All that shit's in your DNA. It's stored in your DNA right now. So now, from inception to the age of 7, somebody else controlled what came into us. And then, of course, through the years later as well. But I'm talking today as grown-ass adults. Guess what? It's on you. It's not on mama anymore because you have choice today to flip the script. You have choice today to go get hypnotherapy. You have choice today to get a coach. Get a life coach. Get a coach that can help you through your stuff so you can transfer that energy into something. Because remember, we're transferring energy from the past to the future. But what do we want? We want happiness and freedom. Two things, right? We want to be happy and to be free. So if we are taking a sip of matcha green tea right now in my beautiful Hempworks cup, be right with you. So if that's what we are, that simply means that this information that is stored inside of us, these fears, these beliefs, right? Life goes in the direction of our thoughts, words, and beliefs. I talk about it all the time. I talk about it on stage. I talk about it here. So if life goes in the direction of my thoughts, words, and beliefs, and again, where are these thoughts coming from, and understanding that we are a database of our past, a database of the stuff that happened up until this point, that means that my thoughts are based on what is in the belief system called the database, subconscious mind, spirit, blah, 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 right? So now I have thoughts of, fears, not being good enough. I don't know if I can achieve that. I don't like people chewing with their mouth open. Why? Why does that bother me? Why does it bother me if somebody's cutting their food with a fork? I can throw something across the room at somebody when I hear, I'm like, you're having fucking steak with a fork. Really? I don't care that it's Wagyu, Bagyu. It's steak. It requires a knife. Anyway, but you see, for me, it's just something deep. My point, though, is we have these thoughts based on our beliefs, and then we now start talking about them like we're having a conversation. And because of my structure in my subconscious mind now, I'm not at a place where technically I'm happy with me. I'm not happy with who I am. I'm not happy. I'm not content in my own skin. So this now, I'm about to bridge the gap between who I am and why I look to change other people, right? And obviously I'm having this conversation for us. I'm guilty. I do it. I used to do it a lot, like a fucking lot, like fuck ton lot, like a lot. But if I'm in a state of not enough, the fastest way for me to feel enough for the moment in my ego is to put somebody else down, is to judge. Because if I see that thing there, that person there, I can find the smallest little thing. And listen, this shit's subconscious. Sorry, not even it's unconscious. It's unconscious behavior because whatever we believe, whatever's in our subconscious mind, it's automated behavior. You don't have to think of the things that are in here. They just happen. This is where all automation is stored. In here. So if I'm in a place of thoughts, words, whatever's happening, I'm not good enough, I'm not, pretty enough, I'm not handsome enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not fat enough, I'm not. So now what happens is from that place, the fastest way for the ego to start feeling better is to say, oh, yep, look at that over there. Look at that person doing over there. They'll never amount to anything because look at them. Look how they walk. Please, what kind of shoes are those? Loser. And there are different levels of what I'm talking about, but we all do it at different levels of consciousness. And it's the fastest way for the ego, because remember, the ego mind, which is the conscious mind, some people say is Satan, the enemy. Some just say that it's the ego mind. But understanding that the ego mind's job is pure survival. And if it doesn't feel, because it needs to feel powerful, the ego is false, right? It needs to feel powerful and needs to feel, excited in its illusion, because it's a false entity. It really doesn't exist. So what it does to make me feel just a little bit better, it's going to now look for something to judge. It's going to look for something for me to put down, because if I put something down, what happens to me? I go up. If that thing is down, I go up. If I'm looking for something to step on, so I'm going to find flaw in my wife, in my kids, in my house, in my business. Obviously, you're mainly looking to project this on other people, but you look for things in order to make you feel better. So I'm going to now take this conversation of we judge, we attack, we look to change people because we don't feel we are enough. And the crazy mofo here is that anytime we are judging, looking to change somebody, we're giving opinion, right? We're giving opinion to that person. Well, here's the problem. When a person doesn't ask for your opinion, you know what that means? They're not open. So if somebody's not open to what you're about to say, you know what they're going to do? Close off. As soon as somebody closes off, that means they're going to resist. Whatever you got going on, they're going to resist. And now they're going to resist by doing the same thing you're doing to them. Because if I'm going to you and say, hey, look at me. You're eating that chocolate again. Your belly's big. When are you going to stop? You don't look good. It's not healthy. So this person that is receiving on the receiving end of that judgment, that attack, because it's a judgment and it's an attack, because unsolicited advice is an attack on the spirit. Unsolicited advice is an attack on the spirit. If I tell that person, hey, watch your chocolate, you're too fat, it's going to give you cholesterol, you're going to die. Now this person's going to say, I'm closing off. Oh my God, how dare you? Because I was already feeling like shit. That's why I was eating chocolate or the cake or whatever. And now you're telling me, you're confirming the problem. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut off and I'm going to resist, which means I'm going to put you down, because now my ego kicked in and said, oh shit, oh, this hurts. This is painful, painful, painful. So the ego now is going to counterattack. Well, why would you tell me about this? Look at your fat ass. Your fat ass can't even fit in those fucking jeans. And all of a sudden, you know what that does? Spark, spark, spark. Guns come out. So this is the general conversation about who we are, the human dynamic, where our pain is, and why we look to change people. And here's the other thing that happens. The person that's attacking, the person that is judging, the person that is giving their opinion, looking to change, number one, that person is not respecting themselves. If that person is not respecting themselves, how the heck am I going to respect you? It is not possible. So if I'm in a painful spot, if I'm in a painful state of I'm not enough, I'm fat, my this, my that, and now I attack you and I constantly look at your flaws and I look at your shit and your side of the room, your dinner plate, your ass, the dirtiness of your car, your speech patterns, you cutting with the fork, that's my pain being reflected upon you. Now, if you are on the receiving end of this, that means you are being disrespected. And now there are different levels of being disrespected. There are different levels of being judged. There are different levels of people trying to change you. So the big question is, what are they looking to change about you? And look, are there situations where somebody actually needs to change, maybe because they're becoming an addict of some sort, maybe they're becoming an alcoholic and there should be like some kind of intervention? Yeah, but I believe there's communication to where we are in communion. We are actually having dialogue around a situation as opposed to judgment. If you go to somebody that's an addict or alcohol, drugs, whatever it may be, and you're like, dude, you're becoming a freaking addict, this makes you do bad things, remember that person's not open yet. If you have conversation, communion, like, hey man, look, I love you. And this is what I had to learn to do, funny enough, with Tammy or just with my girls, etc. Because my brain, I'm type A personality. I'm fast. I react. I go. I create. I say what I want to say. I don't have a filter. You just get me. My wife, for example, it wasn't all the best way to communicate to her, because to her it came across like a boom, a punch in the face. She's like, "Oh fuck, you don't love me." No, I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean? No, I was just saying. She's like, well, that's not communication. I'm like, oh, you're right. That is not communication, because communication requires communion, for two people to be in a community, inside of a community called conversation, dialogue. We share out of respect for one another, whatever the situation may be. So I had to learn how to communicate properly by opening somebody up, like, hey, look, I love you. You're the love of my life. I would die for you. And when you open a conversation like this, you got somebody's attention, because now they're open. They're like, oh shit, it's based in love, as opposed to based in ego, which is the opposite of love. So if you can base your communication in love, in spirit, in this beautiful universe, then somebody's going to open up easily, as opposed to ego, where you attack. So the best way to do this is get somebody right now that you're close to, and have them put up their hand, and you do this and push against their hand, and what you're going to see is that they're going to push right back. They're going to resist. It's an automatic behavior. Try to push somebody off their balance, push them back. What they're going to do is they're going to come right back, right? We're going to resist the fall. We're going to resist the push. We're going to resist change, which now takes us to a different conversation about change and why we resist change as a human dynamic. And it has to do with the same bullshit that we just talked about, the stuff that's in our subconscious mind. It's familiar. It is cozy. It's cozy in there, because what we've done is all the shit that's in here, we've created stories around. When mommy called me fat when I was 12, and I'm holding on to that story because it gives me significance, because mommy's a bitch. And when she told me that, I remember I ate a whole pizza because she didn't believe in me, and blah, blah, blah. And today I feel like I'm fat because of mom, and it's mom's fault. And I'm going to just hold on to that story. So next time I go have a pizza, and I may be, 65 today, but if I'm going to go have a pizza, yeah, mom, I'm going to show you. I'm going to have a pizza, extra pepperoni. And what that does is we're justifying a huge part of the human dynamic called significance. We all have to feel significant. We now stack all these conversations and all these pain points that are bricks inside of our subconscious that literally affect us in every single thing that we do in life, until we get to a place of fixing, self-developing. Go to events, get a coach, learn to meditate, learn to Tai Chi. I mean, there are so many different ways to where you can control the subconscious mind and replace what's in there with goodness, with things that make you happy. Because remember, if your thoughts are based on the bricks in the subconscious mind, what if we flip the script on those bricks, and we can turn mommy telling me that I'm fat at 12 into how sad that my mom at that time had stress in her life. Obviously money was tight. She, maybe got divorced at the time, and maybe my father beat her. So now if we can understand the story of why mom would tell me I'm fat, then we can gain perspective. And I'm not necessarily looking to go back to those places to fuel them and to feed them, and all this emotional shit comes up again. I'm not suggesting that, but I'm just suggesting that these little stories like mommy calling me a bitch, why did mommy call me a bitch? What was happening in her life? Why was she so sad and so in such a painful state to call me, the love of her life at the time, a little bitch? And it's like, well, I don't think she really meant that I'm a bitch. I think she was just not happy. She was in pain. So somebody in pain was just looking to survive just a little bit. So somebody that's in pain needs to put somebody else down just for a little bit, for them to get that little oxygen, like, yeah, I'm going to be okay because you're bad. So it makes me just a little bit better. So gaining that perspective on what mommy did, and the fact that mommy still really, really loved me, it can flip some scripts, and you turn those bricks into some kind of a positive story, like, yeah, man. And because mom was in such a state at that time, it sucked, but it was what it was. And at that time, what if she did the best she freaking could, right? Because there's not one of us right now that could, if you could do just a little bit better, you would be. If you can do 1% better today in how you love, in how you speak, in how you do business, in how you cook, you would. But today, right now, in this moment, it's over. You're doing the best you can. So what if mom back then was doing the best she could? And it's like, man, that was just her way of surviving. That was her way of being able to, in perspective, it's like, okay, cool. So it wasn't maybe all that bad. So maybe I wasn't a bitch. That was pretty awesome. And once in a while, she called me a bitch because she was stressed out because she thought she was going to lose her job. Holy shit. So now all of a sudden we got perspective around, and it's like, mommy really loved me because she actually worked 14 hours a fucking day for me. Wow. So yeah, that caused some stress. She would come home. I didn't do my homework. I was a little bitch. You follow me? See where I'm going with all of this? There's a way to change the perspective around these situations, because at one point they were just a situation until what? Until we judged it. So mommy said, oh, you're a bitch. What I do with that is up to me. So going back to what somebody said, hey, what if I'm the one being attacked, or what if I'm the one being told to change all the time? Listen, what you do with this stuff is up to you. For me, I told you guys, I've been through so much. I was born in communist Romania. Came here at the age of 9. I didn't speak English. We had nothing. I had to fight every step of the way. And the biggest fight was here, because we're coming out of communism where everything is impossible. My father was a hard ass. He was hard. He spent 14 years in communist prison, brought his family to America in 1979. He was hard and not consciously hard. He was just hard because he thought that's the way you do it. And a man has to be a man. You don't cry. You don't do this. You can't wear that. That's for fags. That's for, he was very, very harsh. More with me and one of my sisters than all the others. Don't know why. I look just like him. So maybe he saw that in me. So out of his fears, and again, here we go, right? His bag of bricks, he reflected on me. And he was very, very hard verbally, never abused, like never physical, but verbally, extremely, extremely hard. Through the years, I was all over the place. I'm 14, I'm 15. This is my father. He's telling me this. I'm like, oh my God. And then I went off on my journey and I did a bunch of stupid shit. But I always knew that there was more. I always knew he was wrong. I always knew that that's not who I am. What I decided to do in my journey is find solutions. So if I was not feeling powerful one day, I always knew that I was powerful the day before. Like I was feeling great yesterday. Like what happened from yesterday to today? So I'm feeling on top of the world yesterday. Now I'm under the world. What took place? So through the years, I always knew that it's all what's up here. I always knew that it was all energy. Instinctually, nobody told me like, hey, this is it's all energy. And like nobody had that conversation. I was brought up Catholic, so I was a sinner. I was going to hell. I was fucked. So you get my point. So that's what I grew up with. So nobody there said, go find Jim Rohn because he's gonna help you. Go get Tony Robbins. That was never a conversation. But in my journey, that's what I looked for. That's what I found. That's through the years saved my ass. And today I'm having these conversations because through my journey of self-developing, becoming me, I guess, whatever that me is today, I'm able to have these conversations because of everything that I've learned. So it's not like, oh, I read a book and now we're having a conversation. Like this work happened internally for me. And that's my biggest thing to all of us. Get help. And when I say get help, it's a funky topic today. It's like, well, get help, like any psychiatrist help. No. I'm not talking about that. Shit doesn't even work. That's a different conversation. What works is self-development. What works is you believing in yourself again. What works is you believing that you are enough again, because when you were born pretty freaking perfect. Not one of us was born with fear. Sorry. Not one of us was born with doubt. Not one of us was born with any kind of self-limiting belief. Not one of us. We're born perfect. And then the question is, what happened from really inception all the way till today that has formed who you are, how you talk, what you think about, what you believe in, what actions you take, what actions you don't take. The change has to be inside of you. The change has to be inside of me. When I change, the things around me change. Gandhi said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And this is the conversation of today, because we're all looking to change the husband. We're all looking to change the wife. We're all looking to change the child. We're all looking to change society. We're all looking to, right? But it's wrong. It's wrong because it's ego-based. It is fear-based. And if you're a believer in God, the universe, there is no God in any of that. There's no universe. There's no love in that, unless somebody's like hurting themselves, dying, OD. That's a different intervention. That's like beyond giving somebody an opinion, like, oh, I think you're going to die, you should stop doing cocaine or whatever it is. Yeah, no, that's like a mofo. Listen, there's a problem. That's intervention. If it's up to me to change because only I can show the way, that means I have to do what's hard first. So if I change the way I look at my wife, for example, because I had to through the years for many, many reasons because of my bullshit in the beginning, I had to change the way I look at her in order for her to change the way I see her. But the change of viewing had to be inside of me. I had to make a decision that I got to look at her different. So I had to literally look at Tammy from a place of just fucking love. Right? Like, she's the love of my life. Like, I would give my life for Tammy back then, today more than back then. But that's my love for her. So she had these other things that, let's say, I didn't like, or I had to figure out, what does that really mean? And is it her fault that she's doing it? Does she do it? Because at one point, check this out, because I know we all do, because this is the ego. This is what the ego does. It's a liar. But you know what happens is this. We get to that place where, like, oh my God, she's doing it again. She's doing it to fucking piss me off. Yep, right there. She's doing it again. And it gets me going, and the words come out and spark, explosions. Because that's what the ego does. You get to that place where it's like, oh, okay, now you're going to piss me off. All right, really? Okay, you're going to do that again. Okay, all right. I had to change. I had to understand that what I was focused on was giving me the wrong result. Remember, we talk about this all the time. If it feels good, it's going in the right direction. If it feels bad, it is going in the wrong direction. Good feels good, good direction, feels bad, bad direction. And this is just our being conscious. If you're just conscious when you're talking to your spouse, your kids, your business partner, whoever, and it feels good, keep doing it. But if it feels bad, you really got to understand why it feels bad, and you got to stop it, because we only have so much life to live. So how much longer do you want to feel bad? How much longer do you want to hurt someone? Because every time you're judging someone, you're hurting both parties. You're hurting yourself and you're hurting them. Every time you're opposing on their spirit, because remember, unsolicited advice is an attack on the spirit. So every time you're attacking them, you're hurting them and you. Negative energy costs, positive energy pays. What does that mean? Negative energy costs you. Every time you have a negative emotion, anytime you have a negative thought, anytime you stick to a negative belief pattern inside of your blueprint, you are giving out energy. It consumes you. Why do people with drama in their life and, oh, life is tough, and the boss and my business partner, there's always something wrong, and oh, they screwed me over, like there's always something wrong. They're not well. They're either tired all the time, they look like shit, they're sleeping, their nutrition is way off, there's a problem, because that energy is consumed. It's not being sucked, it's the person is giving it out all the time. Where on the flip side, try loving somebody way too much. Like, love the shit out of somebody. See how you feel. Love, like way over love. Give somebody so much love that they don't know what the frick to do with it. And you'll see when you give love, when you just love, how you are empowered. Now you have more energy, because remember, positive energy pays you. There's a bank account inside here that just fills up, where negative energy actually, just like an ATM, it's like, nope, we're swiping the ATM card and it's like we're being depleted. So I hope this makes sense. The biggest message I have for all of us is this: take responsibility for your shit. You cannot change anybody, although you can change yourself. You cannot change anybody. You can change yourself. I think for the first time ever, I'm actually doing an actual group coaching movement, I guess I want to call it, which will be a weekly group Zoom where we will literally take people and mold them and grow them and self-develop every single week. And that's going to start, I believe it's launching March 17, and I'll have more information as we launch it and all that fun stuff. But that's going to be just for anybody interested. It's going to be $99 per month for full access to the weekly Zoom. It'll be about hour to hour and a half every single week. It'll be limited to a certain amount of people. Not sure what that number is yet. So it'll be $99 a month for sure. There will be, I think, $249 for 3 months, and then I think there's a discount. So typical. My goal is to do it to where it's affordable for a lot more people, because in my coaching, my prices are extremely high on purpose. But I want access to more people because I love this. Like, I love doing this, and it's literally my freaking passion. So anyway, we'll have information on that coming out soon. It'll be part of the Badassery Factory brand. And my goal is to like kick your ass, literally. But what's also cool is that for me, like every time I do this, talking right now, I learn, I grow. Like I just grew in this last hour, because as I'm talking, what happens is my brain is at work looking for info. It's going into my spirit. It's going to my database. I'm getting your information. So as much as it is for you guys, it's also for me. Like, I love this. Anyway, so I'll have information on that soon, and then we'll have some fun. We'll have some fun with that, because there's a great need, phenomenal need, and that's going to be open to teens and adults alike. Because I believe today there's a teen epidemic with them not feeling good enough because of fucking social media. So my goal is to get these teens and remind them, one, get off social media, two, you're a badass, and for them to believe that and start doing good in the world, as opposed to feeling like I'm a piece of shit. And the anxiety epidemic in teens today, the depression anxiety in teens today, the opioids they're on, oh my God, I cannot. So we'll get more information on that. All right, I think we did it. We did it again. You guys are freaking rock stars. Remember, set your calendars. This is happening every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Pacific. This will be a Badassery Factory conversation. So it's all about self-development. It's all about you guys growing, just being better, badass human beings, because at the end, that's what you're going to be remembered for. I was having a conversation with a friend a few days ago, and it's like, man, I'm doing all this business stuff. I'm looking to create some really big things in my business. And, being a friend, we know some of his internal bricks. And he's like, no, I'm going to wait 2 years until I exit my business before I do this. And I'm like, bro, do you think people are going to remember you? Let's say you die right there, right? It's like, what are people going to remember you for? The fact that you left $1 million, or the fact that you were this asshole, or the fact that you were like the most loving human being on the planet, and people trusted you and people honored you and you loved people and you changed the world? Or do you think they're going to remember the money? You follow me? So my point is, change fast, yourself, not others. You love others, change yourself. And with that said, I'm going to go change myself, and I love you guys. Peace out.